All right, guys, we got some new knives to check out, and these are brand new knives. We're going to start it off with the QSP Ripley using the glide lock, which is a crossbar lock. So let's see how well they have done the crossbar lock, because some companies are doing better than others. I think I've tried one other knife from them with a crossbar lock, which actually, you know what? I got it right here. This thing is amazing, by the way, guys. Holy cow. This knife is one of QSP's best models, the Vault. My goodness, is this thing awesome. Not only is it a good-looking knife, I love the buttons, or, you know, for the disengagement. They did a great job with the detent on this one. Super snappy, very ergonomic. This is a great model, guys. Like an absolute banger. So, this one has actually an even stronger detent for the crossbar lock than that guy over there. This one feels really good, man. I'm glad to see companies that are doing crossbar locks are executing them so well. Very ergonomic. I do feel these ridges, because these are pretty deep ridges. So you do feel them, but I'm not going to say it's a hot spot or it's bad. If my fingers were grinding back and forth, it might be a little irritating for long-term cutting use. But as far as just like breaking down some cardboard or, you know, whatever, you know, whittling a stick or opening up a package or cutting a rope, I think it'll be just fine. But this could potentially be a hot spot for long-term heavy pushing use. Deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws. Love to see that. And reversible with a reverse plate. I love to see that. Shove and joint plunge grind is not very good on this one. This one definitely does not have a good plunge grind, because you can see there that it hits the edge. You can actually see the edge is already widening up right there. See how the edge is ever so slightly wider right here than it is right here? That's because this is thicker right here, because the plunge grind is thicker. So they need to back that up and make this the same exact thickness as the rest of the edge, and move the end of the plunge grind back as far as possible. 14C28N, love the steel. So I do think that's a great steel choice. I think this blade shape is like the perfect blade shape for EDC. These thumb studs are nice and grippy. There's a lot of good here. Where's their stop pin? Okay, stop pin's in a good location. Love to see that. This is actually a really good knife. I actually like that one quite a bit. This next one, the next one, we have the QSP Kali, and this is definitely different. We have a straight clip point blade. Love a straight clip point blade with a little bit of a dual grind here. So it's kind of unique how they did this. This is basically just a secondary grind, but they left the satin finish on there, and then they put an edge over the top of it. Technically, this whole thing could have just been an edge, and technically when you sharpen it, you could do that to this knife very easily. But it does look pretty cool having the two edges. So it's basically like this is an edge with a micro bevel on it. That's basically what it seems like. They did do a nice sharp edge on there. This finish feels like a very heavy duty finish. I imagine it's going to be pretty resilient. Hopefully it's not something where, you know, with a little bit of cutting, it shows streaks. I tend to think that it would if you really hard used it, but as far as regular, you know, regular cutting use, I think it'll be pretty durable. G10 has this very interesting milling in there that's very grippy. Oh my goodness, that is grippy. Wow. Wow. Very ergonomic though. And man, I like that choke up spot. That is like a perfect choil right there. As far as a finger choil goes, the thickness right here feels really good in the hand. And then you have this spot right here to kind of lock it in. Deep carry clip inset with flat screws. Love to see that. They're not quite perfectly flat, but they're flat enough, with a reversible plate. And it has button lock action with 14C28N. Love to see that. Now, here it goes. I'm going to open and close it a few times before we check it, but I want to check this lock up because, you know, companies, it's hit or miss when it comes to button locks. Oh, wow, I'm impressed. I am thoroughly impressed. Wow, that feels like a damn bank vault. I'm not exaggerating at all. Like, I don't even feel flex. That's cool. Great job, QSP. Now, this is my only example, so I don't know how well that's going to go, you know, throughout a whole bunch of models, but it seems, as far as this one goes, that they're getting their lock face geometry down pat. And hey, we know it's possible because we know companies that are doing it perfect. There's companies out there that are doing perfect button locks. But then a lot of them, man, they need to play around with the lock face geometry before putting the knives out there in the market. Same problem here with the choil. Plunge grind hits the edge. You can see it already starting to widen up a little bit. One sharpening, this is going to make a smile. And because of this coating, you're going to really be able to see it. So the edge is going to look all beautiful. And then once you get back here, it's going to be like, meh. Is it a big deal? It's not a deal breaker, but I do prefer it to have a better choil. Stop pin lands right here. So I think it's fine. That's a good place for it as far as if you're going to have it there. Jimping is really functional, very functional. This whole thing is so damn grippy. It's crazy. This would be a cool user. Yeah, let's check out the next one. And the last one. The last one is the Turtle Punk. What a name. And my goodness, did that have a good detail. Let's do that again. Woo! Oh my goodness. One more. Ooh, it's got a strong detail. And I mean that in like the best possible way. Reverse flick. Man, that's a very snappy. And another thing that makes it feel so good is this, well, you guys can't see it, but this scale, let's see if we can get the pick up. Because if you look, these scales have like, it's like a wave. It literally feels like a wave. It's crazy. It's not going to come over the camera, especially with this design on there, but it makes it to where it has like this soft feeling while also having, you know, texture for grippiness in your hand. And the thumb studs are placed in such a great spot. It's like right where your thumb just naturally wants to land to launch it. So you have a ton of leverage kicking off like that. Same thing with the reverse flick. It does have a liner lock. They could have done better access to the liner, but it's not bad. I wouldn't consider it a negative whatsoever. It's just fine. But if it was me, I would have added just a little bit extra, just because I'm a nitpicker about that. But nobody else would care. I promise you that. It's just fine. They have good texturing on the liner. Check out the, ooh, my fault. Ooh, I'm hitting everything. Let's check out the clip. The clip is a deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws and reversible with a reversible plate. We'd love to see that. Stop pin. Ooh, let's check that out. Stop pin lands here, again, in the thicker portion. So if you wanted to cut a choil in, you'd have to be careful. And again, they did not do a good job on the plunge grind. I wish they would fix that issue. 14C28N, once again, love to see that blade seal. And the blade shape is a drop point tanto. Almost like a modified Japanese style tanto in a way. They have this same finish on there that feels like it could be very durable. I've seen these coatings be very durable. I've also seen them like come off so easily. Very ergonomic though, man. This one, it absolutely melts in your hand. I feel the clip. I do feel the clip because it goes narrow here instead of wider. It goes narrow. So I do feel the clip, and it is as deep carry as you can get. But it's not uncomfortable. So I like it. I like it a lot. As far as use goes, you can use the primary tip very easily. So that's good because it's a tanto, and tantos in some cases don't. You always have the secondary tip that you can use as well. This is not a straight edge. It does have a tiny, tiny bit of belly there. But it's straight enough that you're going to be able to get some nice long cuts before you hit that secondary edge and come out of your cut. Let's check this lockup. Rock solid lockup. Love to see that, man. They're doing a good job. The only reason why I didn't check the crossbar lock is typically crossbar locks are very, very strong. So, and they, man, rock solid too with this one. Great job, QSP. You're doing a great job with your lock face geometry. Love to see that. Great texturing. Great clips. You know, I like the way you guys are doing your clips. I like the way you guys are doing, like I said, the locks and the lock geometry, and the detents are solid. Those are all great things, because when you're carrying a knife, you want the ability to take it in and out of the pocket one-handed, deploy it, get your cut done, close it one-handed, put it back in the pocket without having to fumble with your other hand, because it could potentially be holding something or doing something else. So I like that aspect. That's a very important thing for me personally when it comes to a knife. Now, the things I would like to see them work on is their sharp control and plunge grinds. I think that that could massively improve not only the looks of their knife, but also the functionality in the future, because what's this going to look like in a year from now if I've put 3 or 4 edges on it? You know what I mean? So it would look ugly, because this would be cut back and you'd see a mess right there. So, you know, just to make it look cleaner, so that in the future, when you're looking at your knife, or when you're seeing your knives, as far as talking to QSP goes, when they're seeing their knives out there in the market, out there in the world being used, they can know that they, you know, even after they've been sharpened a bunch of times, they still look good. Another thing, I'd like to see them pay attention to where they're putting their stop pins. Now, so far, I haven't seen one that's been a deal breaker. This one was definitely close to it. It's right there. That is quite a bit of life off of this knife. So I do think you get your money's worth out of this, but that's pushing it. That's getting very close. Love this knife. Do not think it's a deal breaker. It is that good of a knife, but it is pushing it. You're really close there. So at that point, it potentially could lead to an issue after a couple years of use. Now, like I said, you'd have your money out of it by then, but I just want them to pay attention where they're putting their stop pins, to make sure they're not putting it where we remove steel in order to sharpen, because that is complete negligence. A knife company should know that their knife is going to be sharpened. Their knife company should know that steel gets removed when you sharpen. So if you have a stop pin anywhere close to the edge, that means that that steel potentially will be removed in order to sharpen the knife. So I just want to see them pay better attention to that. And that goes for all companies, by the way, not just QSP. But anyways, there you guys go. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.